My name is Rene Anderson, and now our group will present about Sime Darby Berhad. As for the company background, Sime Darby is the biggest conglomerate in Malaysia and one of the biggest in Southeast Asia. Sime Darby is established by two European business partners, William Sime and Henry Darby, who combined to create the nickname Sime Darby in 1910. Sime Darby started a rubber plantation business in the first place and formed Sime Darby Company Limited. Then Sime Darby started to diversify its operation in a variety of sectors, which are plantation including oil palm and rubber, the company original business, tire manufacturing, heavy equipment and motor vehicle distribution, real estate development, power generation and engineering services.
Hello, my name is AMIRHARITH. Today I will continue the presentation with factor to consider having a segment reporting and management approach. Segment reporting is an operating segment that may engage in business activities for which it has yet to earn revenues, such as startup operation, maybe operate as operation segment before earning revenue. So the next factor is the nature of business activity. One of these variables may be used by most business to identify the operational segment by the company. Next factor is the existence of manager responsible for the activity. An entity operating segment are probably those components that have people in charge of the result of the component, such as segment manager, business unit CFO, or vice president. The last factor of having segmental reporting is providing the board of directors with information. The feature can also be used to identify two or more activities that overlap and for which managers are responsible. That arrangement is occasionally described as matrix kind of organization. Next one is type of segment. The type of segment that used for Sime Darby Berhad is business segment and geographical segment. A business segment, also known as a strategic business unit, it is an area of company's activities where a discrete, well-established production line is present. The geographical segment also allows you to divide your audience efficiently according to where they are, which is helpful when consumer location affect their final purchase decision. Next is shift of decision making, Sime Darby CODM. It is resource location and performance evaluation for the operation segment are the responsibility of the chief of decision making CODM, that who may be a function or an individual. Given that the CODM is accountable for making strategic decision about the entity's segment, the CODM's official title is immaterial. So these are the list of CODM of Sime Darby.
By applying the 10% no threshold, operating segments that are equal to or more than 10% of total revenue should be reported as separate reportable segments. Based on the calculation that you see, industrials and motors are qualified to be reported as separate reportable segments. For the segments that do not meet the 10% threshold, the company may choose to report them as separate segments by combining them if they are similar business activity or present relevant information under others segment. We apply the 10% revenue threshold test to establish the reportable section. Only segments with revenues of 10% or more of the total revenues are required to be reported individually. Therefore, the segments of industrials, motors, plantations, and property may be reported separately. MFRS 8 requires revenue, profit or loss, and assets to be reported separately to determine the reportable segment. Revenue must represent 10% or more of total revenue, profit must be greater than 10% of declared profit or loss, and assets must make up 10% or more of total assets. The business could combine data from operating segments that don't meet the quantitative criteria with data from other operating segments that don't meet the quantitative threshold, but only when the operating segments have comparable economic characteristics and most of the aggregate criteria are met.
So moving on to the 75% rules. Once the reportable segment is identified, the firm must ensure the total revenue of the reportable segment must at least 75% or more of the firm's total external revenue. If lower than 75%, an additional segment is added even though the segment does not meet the 10% threshold. By using the formula of external revenue of the reportable segment over the total external revenue times it with the 100%, the percentage is 99.41% of the total revenue. Since the combined external revenue of the reportable segment exceeds 75%, there is no additional segment will be added as the reportable segment. This is the new segmental report after calculating the 10% threshold and 75% rules. We have divided the segment into two parts, which is the reportable segment and the non-reportable segment. The segments such as industrials, motor, healthcare, and others are the continuing segments of the Sime Darby Berhad, and the logistics segment has been discontinued for the year 2022. The report also includes the operating profit and loss, the share of joint ventures, profit and loss before interest.
As for the conclusion, Sime Darby Berhad used segment reporting to complete set of the company's published financial statements that comply with the financial reporting requirements and to make their report into document performance of their different areas. There are advantages and disadvantages of using segment reporting in perspective of Sime Darby Berhad. As the advantages, the first one is openness and transparency. Segment reporting may disclose which area are lucrative and which are drains on the bottom line for organizations that operate in several category or geographic location. Next, improved knowledge of the financial statements. Segment reporting provides stockholders with a better knowledge of deviation that may affect total figures. Last but not least, lower cost of capital. Investing a stock of a company that discloses and reveals all the information is potentially less risky than investing in stock that company that will hold information. As for the advantages, the first one is company estability emphasized on the present. If the company's overall profitability outweighs these losses, that may not be reflected in the financial accounts. The second one, drawbacks. The segmental reporting information can be altered and reported in the way that management wants the user to perceive. And the last one, the segmentation basis. A fundamental difficulty that developed in segment reporting is division of diverse organizations for segment reporting purposes. That's all from me. Thank you. Basis of preparation of interim report. There are two methods for preparation of interim report. The first method is integral method. Integral method is an essential component of yearly reporting. In other words, it is an interim report that constitutes a portion of annual report. The report value is calculated by multiplying the yearly value by the proportion of the reporting period. The second method is discrete method. Discrete method is a strategy in which the intermediate period is treated as separate period. As a result, the report will be created on a regular basis. Based on FAR570 interim report, Sime Darby Berhad using discrete method. This is because the interim report of the company is prepared every 3 months for 4 quarters annually on periodic basis, and which period must stand on its own. Sime Darby Berhad reporting period starting from 1st July 2020 until its year end 31st June 2021.
As for accounting policies, Sime Darby applied MFRS 416, which is property, plant and equipment, in preparing their interim financial report, where they use cost model approach, which there are costless accumulated depreciation and accumulated impairment loss. As for the repairs and maintenance of the machineries, Sime Darby Berhad will charge all the repair and expenses to statement profit and loss as an expense in the interim period. Besides that, Sime Darby adopt depreciation method, which is straight line method basis over the estimated useful life. Next, the other accounting policies that used by Sam Darby Berhad is inventories. The inventories will be measured at the comparison of its cost and net realizable value, whichever is lower based on MFRS 102 inventories. The cost of purchase that has been included in incidental costs, which include raw materials, consumable spares, replacement part, and trading inventories. There are also other inventories which expense of supplies, direct labor, and accidental costs. The net realizable value is determined by estimated selling price, less cost of sale or disposal of asset. Equipment, motor vehicles, spare parts, and accessories are using specific identification basis and weightage average basis respectively.
I will present the type of interim report prepared by the company. There are three types of interim report that can be created by the company. The first one is quarterly, bi-monthly, and the last one is semi-annually. The quarterly report may be the intermediate report that is issued most often. A quarterly report which is released every 3 months summarizes or compiles a company financial statement such as balance sheet and income statement. The following statement were created for the interim report. The first one is condensed consolidated statement of financial position, condensed consolidated statement of profit or loss, condensed consolidated statement of comprehensive income, condensed consolidated statement of changes of equity, condensed consolidated statement of cash flow. Sam Darby Berhad publish interim report every 3 months or 4 times a year. According to a company's quarterly interim reports, the company's financial operations that are included in the first quarter are from the 1st July 2021 until 30th September 2021. In the second quarter, the company's financial operations are from 1st October 2021 until 31st December 2021. The third quarter period is from 1st January 2022 until 31st March 2022. The fourth quarter period can be concluded by summarizing the business financial performance from 1st April 2022 to 30th June 2022.
This is the period for the current and comparative of each statement prepared for the 4 quarters for the year ending 30th June 2022.
Two adjustments has been made for the fourth quarter report. The first is, in the 1st of June, the firm has purchased 2 brand new Toyota Hiace for the commercial use that amounted 130,000 ringgit each, that has useful life of 10 years, and it is being depreciated using the straight line method. The second adjustment is there a supplier that make a settlement by using a check amounted 200,000 ringgit on the 1st of May in 2022. This is the extract of the reconstructed statement of financial position that has included all the amendments. For PPE, there is an additional 240,000 ringgit and also recorded in the current liability, in the payable and other liabilities. For the settlement by check, there is an increase of 200,000 ringgit in the bank deposit and cash in the current asset. And there is also a decrease of 200,000 ringgit in the account payable